So seeing as how today we're going to have the funeral for Barbara Bush, I felt compelled to talk about something that really bothered me when it came to the reaction levied toward her death. And that is this tendency for people to go after someone because of their association with the historical figure they don't like. There's actually an entire series of threads online where people reacted to the death of Nancy Reagan by talking about all of the evil things that they view President Reagan as having done, and so they go after they use the occasion of her death to celebrate the passing of, I guess, people that were associated with him. Um, and the same thing happened here, where you had the that Fresno State teacher talking about her racism and the other various acts of raising a war criminal, and you have this bizarre tendency to take what someone's son or husband did in office, where they had no control over them. We're talking about grown men that this person had an association with, as it relates to being a family member, and because they have not had their demise, you're trying to use this occasion to grandstand and show your happiness at someone biting the dust. But as I explained before, if you truly are upset with someone from an ideological standpoint, meaning that you actually have valid critiques of a person, not just I don't like them, um, you would not seek for their demise to be put forward in terms of actually dying. In case of, for example, I'm a person who didn't like George W. At that point, I supported impeachment efforts levied toward him. Obviously, at that point, I was still a child, so that's what I would have done if I wanted him out of office. But now that he's out of office, I have no malice toward him because um, those policies, if someone takes over that is more to the degree of the left that I like, can reverse them. And I guess it just comes down to people having no value for human life, no value for just the feelings of others, and they just go off and write these really disgusting things online behind these profiles with no picture. Um, and one has to ask themselves, how would they feel if something happened to their mother or their father or their, cousin or some other relative, and I didn't like them, and I took the opportunity to start talking about, oh, I'm so happy this person met their end. You know, I've never before, in the last 2 years, seen people try to mock individuals over their demises. You had I think it was a Stephen Colbert episode where uh, he was mentioning how happy he was that Roger Ailes was dead. And it feels as if it's a really cheap shot because, again, we're all going to die. So, what can someone do to prevent you from using that occasion to effectively water the grave of that person? Yeah, the whole thing is aggravating, and I can only hope that we'll eventually get to a point where people will remember that we're human and that we all have feelings and emotions, and an individual who's in their 80s or 90s can't control the actions of their 50 to 60 or whatever age the father was, son or husband, while they're in office. But again, that goes along with the nonsensical nature behind levying attacks towards someone because they happen to be the mother of someone you didn't like. Um, and all the critiques about, look, various quotes she made, I don't agree with them either. But does that mean someone deserves to die? They said something you didn't like. Ask yourself that, because truthfully, um, there is no comment, and I hope people realize this. There is no comment or claim someone can make that will be universally received. Now, a majority of people might agree with you on something, but you're always going to have that 10, 20, 30% that just don't care what you have to say, or don't care for what you have to say, because it's diametrically opposed to whatever, their own beliefs are. Even if you have proof to support your claims, you'll have people who will come on my content and that of others and say this person is anti-African American because he points out the fact that 90% of them are getting murdered by each other. And look, you're not making that up. You actually want them to survive and not go and destroy each other. But people are going to say, because you speak negatively, even though that statistic is fact, because you talk about the negative fact of the community, you have some distaste or qualm with the community. A lot of people say, you know what, you're raising the real issues. But it's, again, there's the divisiveness between how that's perceived. And I could also point out the fact that, there's a wide variety of people who are not wealthy, who are being hamstrung in the current economy. And they've had that happen under Democrat and Republican. And you would have people who will say you're anti-American. How dare you be on nobody's side? You can't win in a lot of cases where you're never going to have that one just view or opinion that everyone likes. So it almost feels kind of bizarre that we have this tendency to forget, oh yeah, what I had to say, might not have been liked by this other person. And that's certainly how they felt toward those quotes that TYT brought up. The one about, class bias. Say hello to C-Lab. Yeah, I'm just talking about how disturbing it is that you have people who will go after someone for what they said instead of what they did. And we saw it this week with that transgender thing, where the one person, everybody liked the video, and then you had that one person comment and grandstand and talk about you're disrespectful to transgender people. And then, I'm sitting here reading that comment and thinking of the fact that 41% of them, of all transgenders, are going to attempt suicide, and 15% of them are going to be unemployed at one point or another, which is makes them 3 times as likely as the average person to suffer that fate. And I thought to myself, this person's so concerned with the plight of transgenders and how they're perceived and how things are going on with them. Why doesn't she start up a commission? She or he, I don't know what it was, start up a commission. And these users have all kind of strange pictures now. A commission or group to make sure that that group as a whole, transgenders, don't try to kill themselves 2 times out of 5, or find themselves 3 times more likely than the average American to end up unemployed. Those are the actual issues, not some guy on a camera talking about he got bamboozled over the week by one of them that, said something nasty to him and then got surprised when he levied the same comments back. But again, we don't have that level of logic to where we say, you know what, let's not be so concerned with rhetoric. Let's go out and do actions that will, benefit us. If this teacher was so concerned about those, the people afflicted in the Middle East, why doesn't she get off her, behind and run for office? Or speak out about it when it's not someone's, death? I don't understand it. And you honestly believe that that instructor was doing anything other than just looking for attention? You don't write, I hope the witch is dead, or are burning in hell, or whatever, and not expect for people to come at you and go, what's wrong with you? Say hello to Angel. I wish you would confirm to me if I'm saying your name correctly. I don't enjoy mispronouncing that. So if you can give me some confirmation, I'm at least correct on my pronunciation. But just think to yourself this: we've all had people we don't like. Whether that's kids in school, fellow workers at jobs, and even if I think, look, but it's not about having respect for the dead. It's about appropriating your distaste towards someone over what they did, over things they directly did. So ask yourself this: when the older Bush and Barbara got married in the 40s and had George W., how were they supposed to know that he would start the war on terror 50 or 60 years later? How would they know that? Right? He would begin the worst recession since the Great Depression. How would any of these things have been known to them? Do you see where this thing about raising a war criminal makes no sense? And also factor in that label for him didn't come until the last 20 years. Not even that, the last 18 years. So again, he was able to go past and also think to yourself this. If your son does something in his 50s and 60s and you're 70, 80, whatever, you're really responsible for that. You were able to have him just be this regular, normal guy for decade after decade after decade. And then, he gets in office and does things people don't like, and now you're the person who's to blame? Do you really believe that's fair? That's right. That should be our new policy now. So I just am grossed out. Yeah, C-Lab, I didn't think you did. Um, but unfortunately, we live in this world where people can't just have a problem with you. It has to be extended to those that have association. So again, you have a lot of people who will say, I hope this person's whole family goes through whatever. And I just, generally keep relatives of other people out of it. And I would hope the same courtesy would be applied to myself and others, because um, the actions of one person should not constitute a group that could not control the fact that they were related to that person. Um, I wouldn't go after Bush's sister because he invaded Iraq. She had no control over that. I just think it's asinine that we actually have had people try to use, even if you didn't like the older one, I love the older one. People have tried to use their actions, referring to the older Bush, their actions to constitute their happiness with the matriarch's death. I don't understand that. It's confusing to me. So, thank you for watching. I'll have something else up either today or tomorrow. Um, I hope you enjoyed this. And again, ask yourself, if you have a problem with someone, should it just be a problem with that person, or should it be a problem with everyone that's related to them? Because I think it should be the former. So, thank you for watching. Have a good day.